tactic here. So, don't have the right model. So let's assume, all right, so let's say for a second here that, here's the situation. So, I'm playing as the Space Marines, and I want to, and I need to move up, and let's say I want to like move up and rapid fire these Hellions or whatever. I need to move closer to them. But I know that if I move closer to them, they're going to charge me next turn. And let's say that, you know, still that's the right move. I need to get closer. I need to move up. And I know it's going to hurt. I know it's coming. And what I specifically want to do is I want to protect this Librarian from that Archon there. I mean, Archons just eat independent characters for lunch, and this guy would be delicious. And he's got no defense. So, no invulnerable save, he's delicious. So what can I do? How can I protect my Librarian and ensure that at least he's not going to die in like the first round of combat? What can I do for that? Well,
keep him out of combat?
Well, yeah. So first answer is, I guess, leave the unit and run the other way. But let's assume that's not the right idea in this situation. So, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, run away. Yeah, right. So let's say I go like this. So basically, I'm going to move something like this. So
sort of like the flying V formation.
Well, kind of. It's not specifically the shape of it, but what's important is that the Librarian is not in the front, and there's no way for him to fit between my models. I can't quite get him between any of these guys. So what's going to happen is, let's say I shoot, I cause some casualties, whatever. On the Dark Eldar turn, they're going to move up and they're going to want to charge me. Now, what this means is that the enemy is not going to be able to move his Archon into contact with my Librarian. Right? There's no way he can reach him. And furthermore, there's no way he can entice my Librarian to reach him, because even if I wanted to come over this way, I can't fit through my own models, the way I've placed them as such. So he's going to do the charge, he's going to move closest to closest, he's going to contact all these guys. And because these guys are already contacted and can't move anymore, they're not going to fight. My Librarian, however, is still going to get to fight, because what's going to happen is he's going to move all these dudes in, and then I pile in, and I'm going to do something like this. Right? And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to fight the normal guys, and I'm going to stay the heck away from the Archon. And what this has allowed me to do is, by the placement of my character on my turn, I'm anticipating what's going to happen in his assault phase, and guarding against that, making sure that his Archon's not going to be able to gank my Librarian, even though he'd really, really like to. Now, you're still probably going to lose this assault, but that's beside the point.
You're going to lose, but that's all right. This was a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. It'll make you. It's the thought that counts. Or maybe these were Terminators, not tactical rates. Whatever. The point of the tactic isn't the overall balance of power. So
that's a Hail Mary?
Well, this is just a way to protect your characters who aren't very good at fighting. And you can also do something similar to actually attack enemy characters. So let's say that instead of a Librarian here, I've got, let's say this Tech Marine is just a dude with a Power Fist. He's a Sergeant with a Power Fist, let's say that. So what I'd like to do is, once again, I'm anticipating an assault by the Dark Eldar in their assault phase. And what I'd really like to do is try to instant kill this Archon with that Power Fist. So where do I put my Sergeant to make sure that I can try to do that? Well, it's actually the exact same pattern, where you form them in kind of this semicircle and you put the Sergeant kind of in the back. And the reason for that is the Dark Eldar comes in, he charges me in exactly the same manner as before. And normally, like let's say there was a bigger gap over here, or whatever, I would be forced to move into base contact and I'd be forced to fight the normal guys. You know, be they Hellions, be they whatever's with the Archon. But if I've positioned it such that this guy can't make it into base contact with any of these normal guys, then he's going to have to hang out in the backfield here. And what that means is that I can allocate my attacks on anybody who's in base contact with someone he's engaged with, right? So I can choose to either hit the normal guys or hit the Archon. So I've achieved my goal, and that I can put his attacks on the Archon. Whereas if he'd been out in the front, the Dark Eldar guy could have been, all right, my Archon's not going to go fight that guy. I'm going to go over here and throw a normal dude on the Power Fist. So you can use this kind of veiling tactic to both do offense and defense. Protect your own characters and try to assassinate the enemies.
Now, can the Archon get to the Power Fist?
Well, it doesn't really matter because he's not an independent character. Like, you can't single him out. So you'd have to kill every other tactical Marine before you kill the Power Fist, because you don't have to allocate wounds on him. Now, if that Power Fist, like if this was my independent character, obviously that doesn't work because I don't get to fight if I'm not in base contact. So yeah, so there's limits to it. But when it's an upgrade character we're talking about, a Sergeant, a Nob, something like that, then this works great. All right, so I think that's. Okay, so I guess we'll talk about tank shocking real quick too. So, just like Slingshot Engage, where it was designed to allow you to do assaults you would otherwise be unable to do, one way to use tank shocking is to accomplish the same thing. So let's look at a similar situation where I've got my tactical Marines and I'm really trying hard to assault these guys. Let's just do something like this. All right. So let's assume that after my movement phase, I'm 7 inches away, just too far to assault. So I move these guys first, their movement is done, here I am. All right, so it's looking like I'm not going to be able to charge, I'm 7 inches away. And obviously I can't know that exactly, but I can tell that I'm right on the boundary. So then what I can do is, all right, now I'm going to move my rhino. And I'm going to declare a tank shock and kind of angle it very carefully, right about like this. And I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to tank shock 7 inches, something like that. So you tank shock forward 7 inches, and you end up right here. Now let's assume that these guys pass the morale check, they don't run away. But what they do have to do, even if they pass the morale check, is they have to move out of the way of the tank. And they have to do so through the shortest possible distance. So these guys don't get to hop all the way over to the back, they have to get shunted this way. So they have to get shunted more than an inch away, right like this, right? And now look at the situation. Now these guys are in charge range. Now they're 6 inches away, so now I can charge. So you've used your tank to push them into charge range of your own dudes.
Let's say they fail.
If the tank shot failed, they still move.
Even if they make them morale check, then yes, this is involuntary. Unless they death or glory and kill that tank, this has to happen. If you've angled it properly, you have to guess it right. Because let's say you pivot too far to the right, and you go like this. Well, now the shortest distance is the other way. So this is actually very tricky to do because it's easy when there's 3 units on the board. When it's a whole 1850-point game and you're in a tournament and there's like pressure and stuff, well then it's a lot harder to angle it right. But if you do so, you can enable assaults that would otherwise be impossible. So that's one tank shocking thing. Other things about tank shocking that I guess I can mention, but everyone pretty much knows, is you can push people off of objectives. Not only contesting, but you have multiple tanks. You can just cover an objective so that literally the enemy can't get anywhere near it. And that's one big benefit of mechanized armies, is that you can control enemy movement and control where they can be. Where even if they don't kill your tanks, you can just sit on that objective and they can't even get near it. So that's the most basic, tried and true tank shocking method. But there's also other subtle things you can do, like this example here. So, and yeah, that's about it for that.
Well, I'm going to move into one of the talk about fallback. And then have to